The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome to TrackVia's Turning Ideas into Apps Low-Code demo. Our presenter today will be Brandon Gill. My name is Michelle Martz Mayfield and I'm the PR and Corporate Communications Manager for TrackVia. And we have just a few housekeeping ideas that we have to present first. We just want to make sure that everybody is in listen-only mode. That way everyone can hear the presentation. If you do have a question, please submit it via the chat window and we'll try to follow up with those that if we don't answer them live with an email afterwards. We also want to let you know that this webinar is being recorded and we will send you a follow-up email within 48 hours. Brandon Gill is our Senior Solutions Consultant and he will cover some key ideas today, so I will let him take it over. Thank you, Brandon.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Michelle. So yeah, everybody, as Michelle mentioned, my name is Brandon Gill. I'm a Senior Solutions Consultant here at TrackVia. I've been with the company about 2.5 years. And really, the ideas that we're going to cover off on today are just some basics around who TrackVia is, what is low code. It's a term that's being used by many organizations these days, and it's an idea that's being used more and more by larger tech companies as well as some smaller tech companies. So we'll talk a little bit about what that is, who can use low code. Obviously, we want to make sure that it's clear really who low code is meant for. And then we'll also spend a lot of time in an actual TrackVia application, doing a little demonstration to show you how low code can be used and how we can actually build within a low code system. So first and foremost, just a little bit about TrackVia and who we are. We have been around since 2006. So as far as low-code players in the space, we're actually one of the pioneers. We've been around for a while. We're headquartered in Denver, Colorado with about 75 employees and over 350 customers. And I've got a couple of those customers highlighted here on the right-hand side. And you know, I picked a couple of marquee names, but really the thing that I want you all to take away from this is none of these customers really operate in the same space. So obviously the North Face is in manufacturing of apparel, KSI works in the oil fields out in Bakersfield, Stearns and Sands are financial institutions, obviously, Sands being a casino, Stearns being a home loan originator. Honeywell kind of does a little bit of everything, and then ADP I threw in there as well. And really it's to showcase that low code and TrackVia can be used by really any organization. You don't just have to be in one particular area or one particular industry to benefit from low code, because we've got customers all over the place, and that's really just by design of what low code is and what it can do for you. And even within these customers, all the problems they're solving cover a vast array of different business needs and business use cases. So it really can be used by just about anybody. So let's talk a little bit about what low code is. The generic definition that you're going to get of low code software, if you were to just Google it, is low code is software that provides a development environment used to create applications through graphical user interfaces and configuration instead of traditional hand-coded computer programming. It's a little long-winded for my taste. What I think of low code is it is a framework of tools that allow you to build any business process without knowing how to code. So I'm not a programmer myself. About 95% of our TrackVia admins are not programmers. They don't have any programming experience, but they can still build these very robust business applications utilizing the tools that we're going to look at today in the demonstration. Now, the other thing about low code is it really is a big, broad spectrum right now. As I mentioned earlier, it's a word that's being thrown around a lot. There's a lot of industry analysts that are starting to cover low code. So really, what is low code and who fits into this space? It's a very wide space right now. And it's starting to narrow a little bit. There's some subsets of low code that are starting to pop up. But by and large, it still is a very wide space of people. So on the left-hand side, you know, we think of things like Microsoft Excel and Access. These really are low code tools. You know, you can do a lot of great things in Excel that can automate business processes, and you're not coding typically. So that does fall into that low code category. However, those lightweight tools tend to kind of have some areas where they get hard to scale. They might be good for smaller processes, but I think we've all fallen into the trap of having too many Excel files or not knowing where things live in Excel and things like that. So that can start to fall over a little bit on the lightweight end. On the other end, where we've got the Appians and the OutSystems of the world, these still also fall into low-code systems, but they are what we think of as developer toolkits. So you do still have to know how to code in order to use these tools, but they will give you a framework to work off of, so it kind of expedites that process if you are a programmer. And they do fall into low code for that reason, but you can get trapped a little bit if you're looking for what I think of as a true low-code system. And when I say true low-code system, that's really where TrackVia fits in. As we're going to see throughout the demonstration, everything is drag and drop within TrackVia. It is a graphical user interface that lets you build these very robust applications. And it is a small distinction that we are not a no-code system. So you can institute a little bit of coding for some more advanced processes. Again, most of our customers don't need that for their processes, but it can enhance some apps if you do know how to code a little bit. So who is low code for? The bottom line is low code is for everyone. At TrackVia, we service a lot of business users that are people like myself and maybe people like you who you don't have an IT background, you don't have a programming background, but you know the basics of Excel and Access and some of these other tools. So you can utilize low code to build out these workflows and build out your business processes without needing to bother IT, without needing to pull IT in, or maybe you just don't have a very big IT department at your organization, so you want the business users to be able to take this stuff over and really own it. On the opposite end of that, low code is also great for IT professionals that can utilize low code as a toolkit to build out these business needs and do so very quickly. IT professionals kind of have the mindset, they've done this stuff before, but for some processes, maybe we don't need to customize everything and do a custom build. Maybe instead we can utilize a low code toolkit to spin these things up quickly and build out these workflow processes in a very short amount of time. So at this time, we're going to step into a demonstration. I'm going to show you a demonstration TrackVia application. It's kind of a generic application around quality control. So again, with low code, we can build out a lot of different workflows and a lot of different use cases, but we're going to focus on a quality control inspection example. I think it's something we can all kind of wrap our heads around, even if you might not be in the manufacturing space. And this is the workflow that we're going to go through. So we're going to start as an inspector on a mobile device who is going to complete an inspection of a product. That inspector is then going to fail that and assign it to a quality control manager who will be alerted and can assign corrective actions to our rework team, who will then rework the failures and then send that back to the manager for approval. All the while, the manager is able to analyze real-time KPIs around product quality, how many inspections we've done, and things. So let's go ahead and jump into that. I'm going to shift over into this other tab here where you'll see TrackVia. And specifically what we are looking at is a fictitious company called Pluto's Norway. So I'll start by giving you a little orientation to the screen, and then we'll actually jump into that demonstration. So in the top corner, we have our logo of Pluto's Norway, or a logo of whatever your company might be. So you can custom brand this and really make it look and feel like it's your own. And this serves as our home button that takes us to our main dashboard on any application. Right next to that, you'll see that I am logged in to this quality control application. However, if I hit this drop down, you'll see I've actually got a couple of different applications in this particular app. So I've got quality control, project management, as well as this welcome application. And the reason that welcome application is here is because the account that I'm using is actually reflective of the trial account that we offer at TrackVia. So if you've ever wanted to get a trial of TrackVia, we can certainly look to give you that experience as well. And this is some of the things that you'll see with the example applications. But the point here is really to show that we can tackle a lot of these different use cases. So quality control, project management are a couple, things like asset management, inventory management, all fair game when it comes to building a TrackVia app. Really any data that needs to be tracked and moved between people or moved between departments is a great use case for low code or for TrackVia. Below that, I'm currently logged in as an admin, so I get access to this admin toolbar here. This allows me to build within the system, so I'll be able to show you guys a little bit of how we build here in just a few minutes. And then we also can see that there are 4 different dashboards we're going to look through. So an inspector role, that QC manager role, that rework role, and then our analytics. Now I can see all of these because I am logged in as an admin, but if I were logged in as what we call a limited user, I might limit what people can see for security reasons, for regulation reasons, or just because I want to make sure that they're seeing things that are relevant to them and relevant to their job to give them a good experience. On all these dashboards, you can customize them with a variety of elements. So I got a shortcut button here, a grid view of my inspections, a map of my inspections. So again, really taking advantage of these dashboards to give your users a unique user experience that's relevant to their job. So let's go ahead and kick off this workflow. To do so, I'm actually going to pull over a mobile device that I've got sitting on my desk in front of me here. Now at TrackVia, we do offer a native mobile application. That's one of the differentiators that we take pride in compared to other low-code tools. Not all of them have a native mobile application. What I always like to do here is hit this home button just so you all can see. We won't worry about that software update. But you can see that we've got a TrackVia app there, and that's actually what I'm going to click into. So it's not a responsive website or anything like that. It is an app that you can download in the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store, and it gives you full functionality that you see on the web, but on a mobile device. So all of the buttons render the same. We can see that chart renders the same, and anything that we build on web will be fully available on mobile. So there's no separate code bases to manage or anything like that. Additionally, this allows us to take advantage of the actual mobile device's capabilities. So we can do things like scan barcodes, take photos, tag locations, and things like that. So it's a great thing to have if you have any field service type use cases, manufacturing type use cases, or things where you want people to collect and view data on a mobile device. Now, with all that being said, let's go ahead and start this QC inspection. When I do that, I'm taken to a custom form that's going to ask me a couple of questions, and some of these questions will be defaulted for me. Again, just making it as easy as possible for our end users to fill these things in. So our date and time here we'll see is defaulted to the current date and time. I'll say, who's my inspector? I've got a couple of inspectors here. Let's maybe say this is Joey Tribbiani that's doing this inspection. What product are we inspecting? I've got 3 different products, and let's inspect a what's-its for this one. I'm going to use a barcode scanner now to actually tag the serial number. So again, taking advantage of the mobile device, I've got a serial number here, and if I tag onto that, it'll pull directly into TrackVia. So again, if you've got very long serial numbers, if it's a manufacturing process or anything like that, that can be a really powerful feature. I'm also going to tag the location of the inspection, again, utilizing the mobile device's location feature. It's tagging me to my apartment here in Broomfield, Colorado, but if you've got multiple sites or you need to know where this inspection occurred, maybe it's a supplier that's doing the inspection, another benefit that can be very powerful. Go ahead and hit next on that, and what it will do is it will take me to some inspection questions that we need to fill in for the what's it that we are inspecting. So I can get some basic product information. I can see what the finished product should look like, some product documentation in a PDF that I've included here, so we can attach PDFs, Word docs, things like that. And now I can start to answer some questions. So some basic inspection questions like, is the dial set to -1, and what should it look like if it is set to -1? We'll say yes. Does the spacing follow specifications? We'll say yes. Where is the plate screw located? Maybe that's on the front. And finally, we get to question 4, which is a visual inspection. And this is actually going to showcase some form rules that we've got on here, because if I just pass this visual inspection, I can just continue on with the rest of the inspection. However, if I fail it, it's actually a show hide rule that's going to prompt me for a fault code to say, why did we fail this what's it? And if I click into here, you can see I've got 3 different fault codes. These are tied specifically to the what's it, so I can't have this fault code on any other type of product, so it really tailors it down, makes it very easy for the end user to know what the potential fault codes could be. And I'm going to say in this case it was damaged in assembly. I've got some tolerance limits here. I'm going to say that this is intolerance for our case. And then we can do some notes and sign off. So with the notes field, we can type in anything we want. We can also take advantage of talk to text. These are my notes, and that'll go right into there. So if you're working with gloves or anything like that, that can be a really handy feature. And then of course, again, utilizing the mobile device, we can grab a photo of our part here. I've got my TrackVia water bottle that we'll use in this case, and we can attach that right into the records. That's great for quality use cases, can be great for inventory use cases, shipping, receiving, things of that nature, really anything where you need to tag a photo. Then in addition, we can also draw on the photo if we need to call out anything. Maybe that's the area that was broken or the area where it was damaged. We can draw on that and append that into the record. Finally, I'm going to go ahead and sign off that I am the one that did this inspection. And what I always tell folks on the sign off is it can be great for a lot of use cases. Some use cases may require it. But we do also have a full audit history within TrackVia. So especially for our highly regulated industries, if you ever need to know who did what, when, and where within the system, it's totally fine, and we track all of that for you. So the signature is not required, but it can be a great feature as well. Go ahead and hit submit on that, and that will take us back out to the dashboard. And if I move our mobile device over and refresh the screen, we will see the inspection that we just did is now under our all completed inspections list. You can see the inspection that we just completed there with that photo of my water bottle. And of course, in this case, we're just doing an example inspection. If this seems like a use case that's similar to some things that you might do, you might have a wide variety of questions. You might have less information you want to collect, you might have more. Again, we'll show you how easy it is to actually add that stuff in here in just a minute. Now, a couple of things that did happen on my other screen here. If I drag over my email, we're going to see that 0 minutes ago, I received this email notification letting me know that we had a failed product inspection and we need to assign rework to it. So TrackVia does automate emails out of the system. Those emails can come based on time, or they can come based on actions. So because we failed this one, I got notified now as the manager to let me know that I need to do something about it. So that can be really handy just in knowing what needs to get done and knowing when things need to get done. So that can be something that you take advantage of to really make sure that things are moving well within the system. Now that we've seen that, I am going to shift over to the QC manager dashboard and the QC manager role, where we can see we have some other elements here. We've got this view here that's showing me all the tasks that need me to assign rework to them. This one here is where I can actually see the rework that's been done and approve it. And then we also have kind of a Kanban board where we can assign out that rework. Now, in my case, I'm going to take a look at this first record here, which is the inspection that we just did. We can see all the information that we just filled out is there. But what I'm going to want to do is actually assign rework now. So if I hit this plus button here, I can see another form pops up that allows me to say what employee should do this rework. And I'm going to say maybe Ian Inspector should do it. The rework type is it was an issue with machining. And then we'll just say part was damaged. Please fix. Or whatever the case may be. Again, we can make these things more complicated, less complicated. It's really up to you and your purpose. Go ahead and hit save on that. And then if we actually save changes here, we'll get this little pop-up that says the last change caused this record to leave this view. And it did that because now that we have assigned the rework out, it's fallen out of the queue that has asked me, this is a record that needs rework assigned. So because we've done it, it's fallen out of that queue. So these workflow queues can be a great way to just keep track of work that needs to be done and just sift through it throughout the day. And we can now see that what's it was assigned down here to Ian Inspector. With this Kanban board, I can move it around. So I can assign it over to Ann Perkins if I want and really just move who takes these processes and make sure that everyone has a reasonable amount of work without having too much work. So it's a very easy visual way to do that. All right, so the final piece now is we want to take a look at that rework. So I can see on the rework dashboard all of the things that are requiring rework, as well as the status that they are in on this lanes view, as we call it, or this Kanban board, as some people know it. So there's our what's-its that we were just working with. We just reassigned it to Ann Perkins, so we can see that there. And what I might do as Ann Perkins is just pick this up from pending and move it over to in process. Maybe that sends another email notification to the manager, letting them know that we are in fact working on this. There's a lot of things that we can have happen when we move that thing over. And what I'll do is I'll now click into it, and I can see all of the basic information from the inspection. I can also see all of the information from what was required of the rework. I can attach a reworked image if I'd like. And basically what I'm just going to do is I'm going to say that the rework was completed today, and I'm going to move it from in process to complete. Again, your process may be a little more complicated than that, but we're just seeing how this data is getting moved around to different departments here. When I hit save on that, because I changed the rework status to complete, I'm able to go back to that rework dashboard and see that the what's its card has moved from in process over to complete. Finally, if we look back on the manager's dashboard here, I get to approve that rework. So there's the what's its that we've been working with throughout the whole inspection process. I can click into that. I can see all of the information. I can verify that the employee completed it. And I can then say, I approve this rework. The part is now good to go. Hit save on that. And just like when we assigned out the rework, it has fallen out of my queue because I have now approved that rework. So again, just sifting through those different workflow queues there. So that brings us to the end of the actual workflow. So let's recap a little bit. We started as an inspector, where on a mobile device, we were able to do a quality control inspection. We were able to get information relevant to the part, see some work instructions, and actually complete that inspection. We failed that inspection, which kicked off an email to our manager, letting them know that we needed to do something and assign some rework. As a manager, we assigned that rework out. We moved around who it was assigned to. And then as an employee, we were able to complete that rework and let the manager know that the rework was complete. And then as a manager, we were able to approve that rework. So that's a pretty big process that we covered in a pretty short amount of time. And all of it was built using the tools of TrackVia. If we were to shift to another application or another use case, you'd see all these same tools, but we might just cover a different type of workflow. And that's really the power of low code and the power of TrackVia, is that we're able to do all of these things within the platform and within the system. So there's not a lot of emails bouncing around. There's not a lot of Excel templates that people aren't updating. It all stays within the system. And as a result of all of it staying within the system, we can look at our analytics dashboard here, and we get some pretty robust analytics that are all going to update in real time. So this is just some examples of the things that you can chart within TrackVia. What I always tell folks is you can track it in TrackVia, you can chart it in TrackVia, and all of these things do update in real time, and they are drillable. So if I look at my weekly inspections, I can see inspections that I've done this week. If I click into it, there's the inspection that we just did as Joey Tribbiani today at 11:12 a.m. Mountain Time. If I click into that, I see all the information that we collected on that inspection. So totally drillable, totally real-time analytics there. The last piece that I want to do here is I want to show you all a little bit about how we build in low code, because it really is pretty powerful to see. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a field onto a table, and then add that field onto a form so that we can collect a new piece of information when we do these inspections. I'll move pretty quickly here because we only have about 7 minutes left on our scheduled time, but I think it'll be a good way to take a look at how we actually build within TrackVia and utilize these tools. So I'm going to start by going to our tables dropdown here. TrackVia, in any TrackVia app underlying it is a relational database, so it's made up of a series of tables. And I'm going to go to our QC inspections table. When I do that, I'm taken to our table editor, where on the left-hand side, I see all of the different field types we can use. So text fields and number fields we're typically going to type into. We've got some drop downs and checkboxes, which are great because they allow us to really keep the data clean. We've seen some date and time fields in use. We've got some specialty fields like links and images, location fields, and of course, calculated fields that work similar to any calculation you might do in Excel. In the middle is all of the fields that are being collected on this table. We might not expose all these fields to our end user, but these are all the things that are being collected in its most raw form. And if I want to add something here, all I have to do is say, what field type do I want? I'm going to use a drop down, pick it up, and just drag it and drop it in place. I'll give it a field name. I'll call it inspection. Let's see, inspection priority. And we'll give it some options, high, medium, low. We'll hit save on that, and that's really all it takes for us to add a new field into the table, and that's really the power of low code. There's no coding required, so you get to totally customize this to fit your processes and to fit your needs. Next, what we're going to do is add that field onto a form. So I'm going to use our start inspection form. We'll edit that where again, on the left-hand side, we will see all the fields we can use. And in the middle here, we'll see how we want this form to be laid out. There's my inspection priority there. So maybe I'll put it right next to our serial number. I can drag that in place. I can adjust the way I want the form to look and feel. I can even adjust the color of the form if I'd like. Maybe I'll make it a little more of a yellowish color. We can go ahead and hit save on that. And now, because everything will update in real time within TrackVia, what I can now do is when I start a QC inspection, we'll see that that changed the color of the form, and my inspection priority is now a piece of information we can start to collect. So again, as your business changes, as things change regulation-wise or anything like that, you can really make sure that everything is tailored to what you need and that it fits your process 100%. And that's really the power of low code, and that's why low code can be so great for so many different use cases across so many different industries. At this time, we're going to shift back to the presentation here. Just got a couple final notes for you, and then we will take some questions. We've seen a couple pop up on the chat, so I'll make sure to answer as many of those as I can. Just a couple final housekeeping notes. As we finish this webinar, an email will be sent to you within 48 hours with a full recording, so you can share it around if you need to. After we are done, a short survey will pop up. Shouldn't take you much more than 5 minutes to complete, and we do value that feedback if you can send it. And if you want any immediate information, please feel free to email me, and if I can't answer your question, I'll be sure to send it to the appropriate person. I want to say thank you, but before we sign off, like I said, we did have a couple of questions here. The first one being about the barcode scanning that we did. We got a question about, can we also scan QR codes within TrackVia? And the simple answer there is yes. Any barcode, any QR code is totally fair game there. We can do it both to just tag the information off of it, or we can use them to kick off processes. So if you have like an inventory app and you want to pull a piece of that inventory, you can scan it and it will remove from the active inventory into maybe sold inventory or anything like that. Another question we got, and we do get this question quite a bit, is what are our integrations capabilities within TrackVia? It's a great question because we totally understand that while some people might use TrackVia for a variety of processes, others might use it for a very specific process where you need to integrate into some of your other enterprise applications. So as far as integrations go, TrackVia does have an open and bi-directional API, so it can connect to any other system that has an API as well. We can push data out of TrackVia or pull data into TrackVia that way. We also have an integrations platform that we utilize. And with that integrations platform, we have over 350 pre-built connectors to common systems like SAP, Oracle, Workday, Microsoft products, things of that nature. And with that integrations platform, you can actually build those integrations without needing to utilize the API because it's all drag and drop. It fits kind of that same low code methodology at TrackVia employs as its own software, so you don't have to be a coder to build those integrations. Plus it has some really cool tools that allow you to do things like check for errors, do version control on your integrations, and a variety of other things. So we launched that last summer, and it's gotten a lot of traction, and a lot of our customers really take heavy advantage of the integrations platform. At this time, I don't see any more questions that have popped up in the queue, so I want to say thank you to everyone who did get a chance to attend. Like I said, a small survey will pop up here as we close out the webinar. So I'd really appreciate it if you took a couple of minutes to fill that in and let me know how we can do better on the next one, as we are hoping to run these things monthly to give everyone a little more exposure to low code and TrackVia and what all the possibilities are with a low code system. Thank you, everyone, and I hope you have a great day.